I think probably the first thing we start with is I am completely blind. I can't see anything. All I see is black. I have a hearing impairment. My left ear is completely deaf, and I have minimal hearing on my right side. Now, communication is probably what we're going to do the most of, hopefully, and I use what's called a microphone. It's just a little small instrument, and it has a little switch on it right here, as you can see.
Okay.
Okay, and that's the on and off switch, and it has a volume on it, but normally you don't have to do anything with the volume because I can control the volume on my amulet. So I can turn you up or down wherever I need you to do it. So what you're going to find is that people are very not accepting of this. So as we go on, I'll kind of explain things, but I'm going to go ahead and hand it to you, and you can either clip it on your collar or clip it in your lapel, and you don't have to talk any different than you would to a normal person. And in fact, if you talk real loud, it makes it worse for me to hear you. I'll get your volume set, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Now I noticed that there's a blue light on this device.
Yes, this is Bluetooth,
Okay.
and what it is the microphone talks to this little amulet that I wear in the center of my chest, and then the amulet is Bluetooth to my hearing aid.
Okay.
So what happens is when you talk, it's just like you're talking right into my ear, like you're right next to me.
Okay.
So what's going to happen when we go out to different places? Um, you're probably going to be the first line that the people are going to talk to. What's going to happen is, in some cases, if they're not used to any kind of electronic communication, they're going to try to shy away from you a little bit, and you have to tell them, this is the only way he can hear you, and he can hear you very well if you just talk into it and talk normal. And usually, once you get them to say at least two or three words, then all of a sudden they can handle it, and then they think it's pretty cool that they can talk to somebody with just something like this.
Okay. Now I noticed there's a blue light. What does the blue light indicate?
The blue light indicates that we are paired together. In other words, the microphone is connected to the amulet, and the amulet is connected to the hearing aid. If you have a blinking blue light, then that means that we're not paired together. It's connected, but they're not paired together. So we got to find out why, or for what's going on, why it's not paired. If it's a green light, then you'll find that it's not connected at all. So now we got to find out why it's not connected first, and then find out, make sure that we can get it so that they both communicate with each other.
Okay. Now, with my voice, can you hear my voice very clearly?
I can hear you very good. I made one adjustment on my amulet, and I turned up the volume just a little bit, just so I could hear you a little bit better. The only thing that I ask is you speak relatively slowly, not slow, but relatively slowly, and speak as clearly as you can.
Okay. So just slow my voice or the words down just a notch then, basically.
Just like you're doing right now. I
Okay.
can understand you just fine.
Hmm.
I've got you kind of tied in now with the amulet, and I can hear you really well.
Okay. Now, is there going to be any time if, let's say, we go to a store, especially in a hospital, where there may be some interference with the Bluetooth communicating with each other?
There's going to be some communication issues in certain places. Um, Microwaves are really difficult for it to work around. The range on this is about 15 feet. So you can't get more than 15 feet or I'll be lost. The the only other place that I can think of is example in your car when if we're going somewhere, if we're going to that appointment. Once we get up to highway speeds, the road noise from the car, the microphone picks up that road noise, and I have a very difficult time hearing you. So we may not have very much conversation when we're driving at highway speeds, but then again, when we're driving in town, I can hear you just fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what about if someone comes in on the conversation? Will you be able to hear them depending on how close they stand to you or me, or how is that going to work? Is it better if it's like in a closed quarters area, like in an office, as opposed to a large room? Are you going to hear a lot of echoing?
I hear a lot of echoing in a bigger room, and it depends on every individual room. I have some big rooms that don't echo at all and some that echo terrible. But to answer your first question, when somebody else comes into the conversation, say for instance you and I are talking and someone else comes in, if they're close enough to you, I'll be able to hear what they're saying. If they're a little bit too far away, I'll be able to hear them talk, but I won't be able to understand exactly what they're saying. So at that point, if they want to communicate to me, that's where I need you to come in and say, if you would like to communicate with Bob, this is the way you do it, by using this microphone. And then he can hear you very well rather than both of you struggling trying to figure out what each other is saying.
Okay. Now, when I take you to a medical appointment, and some people, I'm sure, will be apprehensible about reaching for the Bluetooth, or they'll probably freeze. Uh, would it be best, or as a suggestion, if they just, I'll introduce you to the person and say, this is Mr. Clade, and he has an appointment, let's say, for example, at 1:30 today. And they'll ask for your some other information. Would you prefer that I just give them the Bluetooth, or just have them, or I'll just repeat the question and you can answer that person directly?
Well, we can do it both ways, but I would say that by giving them the Bluetooth, it actually gets them in on the conversation.
Okay.
And it actually makes their job a little bit easier because they're not having to ask you, you're not having to ask me. And this way I can talk just directly to them. And like I say, once they say a few words on it, if they do clip it on their collar, after about the fifth or sixth word, they forgot it's even there, and they just talk to you like normal, and it makes everything easier for all of us.
Okay. So when we do go to the medical appointments and I introduce you to the desk clerk, would you prefer that I just give them the Bluetooth and then just explain to them, just clip it on your collar and just talk as if you're on a cell phone so you can communicate with Mr. Clade?
Yeah, exactly. That's going to make it the easiest for both of us.
All right.
And then there are going to be times with this that the Bluetooth is not perfect, so there's going to be times when we're going to have interference. And I may have to say, Jerry, turn your microphone off, wait about 15 seconds and turn it back on, because there was some kind of interference, and your voice may be coming across very garbled to me. And just by doing that, giving it a break in the connection and turning it back on again, it'll correct itself, and then I can hear you just like normal. That doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen.
Okay. Now, you said there was when we're on the road traveling, you receive a lot of interference, a lot of road noise. So if I try communicating with you, is that going to be a problem as well? Or
Yeah, It's going to be difficult. It's going to depend. It really depends on the road. There are some roads that you can be driving along at 60 miles an hour and I can hear you just fine. And there might be another road that you're driving along at 60 miles an hour and I couldn't tell whether you were sitting next to me or if you were 100 feet away from me. So it just depends on the road, and we'll just have to experiment with it um, as we go. I mean, there's no set rule with the electronics that it's going to work here or not work here. So we just have to kind of play it by ear, and sometimes I'm going to be able to communicate just fine with you. Other times, you're going to be driving, listening to the radio, and I'm going to be following you.
Okay. Now, how does this Bluetooth actually work? What keeps it going? Obviously, you have to charge it or recharge it. Is there a battery, or is it a throwaway? Or how do you keep this Bluetooth charged up?
It has a lithium battery in it that I charge every night, and usually the microphone, I have several microphones, and usually the microphone will last about 4 hours of steady use, and the amulet will last about 8 hours of steady use. So usually in the evenings I charge them up. Unfortunately, there's no battery that you can replace, so that's why I have to carry extras. I usually carry one extra amulet and one extra microphone at least, and that usually will get me through a day.
Okay. Now, what other things would you be interested in doing, or what would you like me to do when we go to places? Because this is my first time
Okay,
that
understood.
I'll be escorting a person with disabilities. So you may need to explain a little bit more what's going to work, a little bit more, just to kind of give me a little guidance until I get a real good hands-on feel as to what's expected from me.
Okay. Well, whenever we're out and we're doing mobility, which means we're walking around, I will normally always take your elbow, and I prefer to be on the right hand side, your right hand side, because I like to have the cane in my right hand, and then I have my left hand on your right elbow. That's the best way to do it. It's the safest, and I can tell when you go up a step or if you go up on a medium or something like that. I can get a feel for the fact that you're raising or lowering or something like that. And I can follow with that. It's also good that you would tell me, okay, we have a step that's going down or 3 steps that are going down, um, or steps that are going up, or this is the curb and we have to step up or we have to step down. Um, and if there's any kind of real bad sidewalks or anything, if you'd let me know that. Any kind of information that you can give me as we walk will be helpful for me to know where I can step. Because the worst thing is for me to fall, and getting me back up might be another story. The second thing is I need you to really be good about confidentiality. You're going to be seeing a lot of bank statements, a lot of maybe legal papers, um, a lot of bills, a lot of different things that I would prefer not to have everyone else know about. And I guess the only thing I can say is try to put yourself in my place, and if you wouldn't if you don't want somebody to know about it, you shouldn't be telling somebody about it. So that would be the best thing I could say as far as confidentiality. If you don't feel comfortable telling everybody, then you probably don't want to say anything. Um, you're going to be handling my money. So I'm going to be handing, if we go to a store and we need to pay for something, I need to know for sure that the trust line is there between us, because I'm going to be handing you my wallet or my credit card or cash that may be in my wallet. So we need to make sure that we maintain a good trust factor. We need to make sure that when I need you here, that I can count on you being here, and usually on time if at all possible. Because if you're late here, then I'm late to my appointment, and then that's not good. So reliability is a big factor too. Safety is the final thing that I think we need to talk about. And there again, whenever we're out, I'm just asking you to keep me safe, because you are going to be my eyes and ears out there, because I can't see and I can't hear.